my last night in Dushanbe, Tajikistan, and I just want to give my honest impressions. I am not a fake positive influencer. These are things that I wish I would watch the video like this before I came here, because all the videos that you watch on YouTube, all the ones with a lot of views, they don't really tell you a lot about the state of this country, about what it's actually like to tour the capital city. And if you read between the lines, after you watch this video, you'll be able to read between the lines of the YouTube videos. And also if you go on Reddit, all the comments, you'll be able to say, all these things you were supposed to infer based upon them saying, oh, Tajikistan is very difficult to travel. It's hard to find explicitly negative commentary on the country, right? Because, well, it's kind of risky to make. I'm just gonna give my observations, my experience here of 2 days, 3 nights. First thing to understand, Tajikistan is a transitioning economy. They are the poorest of the stands. I did not know that when I visited here. I thought Kyrgyzstan was the poorest, but Tajikistan is way poorer. And when I say poorer, what that means is the city's infrastructure, things like roads, services, they're not developed yet. Things like this country does not own a telephone company or internet provider. What that means, they have to purchase the internet from another country, and what you get is it's going to be a little bit more expensive and it's going to be very slow internet. Also, basic amenities like ride-sharing apps, they have a ride-sharing app, but it doesn't work. Both my hotel hosts here told me, don't use the app. Just go out to the road and do this motion to hail a taxi. And when I did that, from my perspective, the taxi driver stopped, yelled at me, and moved on. I go like this. What just happened? I don't understand what's going on. So understand, this is, at least the city, it is very difficult for a tourist to come in and just, there is a lot of overhead that you need to figure out, which I'm still figuring out. Like every day, there's like something I need to, there's like extra effort involved into things like, where am I going to eat today? Restaurants aren't published on Google Maps. Even if they are, you'll arrive at the restaurant and they're closed because the hours weren't reflected in Google Maps, or I don't know. A lot of the places on Google Maps, they didn't exist or they were closed. And then my favorite restaurant, I was just walking around and I just noticed a lot of locals eating there. So I sat down, had an excellent meal. And when I went to leave a 5-star review on Google Maps, that restaurant didn't exist. So there's a lot of things that we take for granted when we travel, and a lot of services that we rely on. Google Maps, having an eSIM, ride-hailing apps, being able to order food, and even things like 7-Elevens, Starbucks. Fun fact, this country does not have a Starbucks. Let that sink in. This entire country, not this neighborhood, this entire country does not have a Starbucks. You can look it up on Google Maps. It does not exist. It doesn't have an Apple store. It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't have a 7-Eleven. There are KFCs though. KFC has market penetration within this country. Isn't that funny? KFC has market penetration within this country, but there is no Starbucks, no Apple Store, and no 7-Eleven. Also, credit cards aren't taken anywhere. There's no concept of using Apple Pay. You will have to use cash, just keep that in mind. Locally, they use some sort of banking app, which I couldn't figure out. Just carry cash, like a lot of cash. I would say, despite this being such an undeveloped country, it's kind of pricey, like relatively. What I mean by that is, even if you find a local hole-in-the-wall family restaurant where the locals are eating, to have a decent meal, you're going to be paying $15. And to first world viewers, you could say, $15? Oh, that's so cheap. Oh, that's so cheap. That's like a Big Mac meal in the US. Well, keep in mind, within the capital city, Dushanbe, Tajikistan, the average daily wage is $14. So a decent meal costing a full day's wages, that's kind of odd. And now that I think about it, most of the restaurants I went to, they were just completely empty. There's only me and one other group. 95% of the restaurant was completely empty. This is across multiple restaurants that I've been to, which makes me think, what's going on with the restaurant business here? As in, what do the locals eat? I still haven't figured that out. If dining out one meal costs an entire day's wages, what's the intended clientele? What's the economics and business model of restaurants here? Because only people that could afford that are first world tourist, which this country doesn't get. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm the only US passport holder within, like, I can confidently say maybe this entire city. Because when people see this, they're like, oh my God. Like, they can't believe it. What I notice about the people, they are amiable, they're very nice, they're willing to help you out. But similar to what I said in my Kazakhstan video, they are not friendly. And I might make another video about this, but there's a difference between friendly and being nice. Those things are orthogonal concepts. You can actually be friendly while appearing aggressive and mean. Argentina is a good example. Argentina is a culture where people are very stoic and cold, but they're some of the most friendliest people. Both South Korea and Kazakh culture, I would say they're both very nice, amiable, but they're not friendly. And when I say people aren't friendly, I have not been able to make a friend here. That's what it comes down to. People don't seem interested in befriending me, following up with me, right? They'll help me out, but I don't see this culture that I can make friends. I get the sense that there's like this wariness. I'm not saying suspicious, but I think this is a culture that since it's so Muslim and conservative, they don't know what to make of me, and there's like this conservative, keep to yourself energy. And unfortunately, as much as I want to interact with the locals, I made a TikTok asking, hey, I'm coming to Tajikistan. If you guys are in their area, let's meet up. I would like a local to show me around. 0 responses. And I can confidently say it's not because that video didn't get that many views. It's just because the people here, they don't really reach out to make an effort with outsiders. That's my impression. I had very high hopes coming into this country that this would be a friendly country, because when I read on Reddit, there were multiple experiences of people saying that this was the friendliest stands, that you could just walk around the streets and people would just invite you into their homes to have a cup of tea with them. But I don't know, I don't see that happening. That was nowhere close to happening. They were like very guarded and shut. And I don't know how those other people had that experience, because this is definitely not that culture. Even both my hotel hosts, I mentioned to them that I was thirsty, that I was like, okay, where can I buy water? I said, I'm thirsty, where can I buy water? If this was a friendly culture, they would have either brought me water or B, told me where I can go buy water. Both of these hosts, you know what they told me? They're like, somewhere in the city. That's what they said. It's like, there's probably somewhere in the city. Like, really? You couldn't give me... And I took that at face value that, oh, maybe this block has no convenience store. Maybe there's nowhere to buy water here. And then I walk around and within a couple blocks, I see a convenience store selling everything. And I'm like, wait, why couldn't that fellow tell me that there was a convenience store selling water? And like, do you see what they're not friendly? If this was a friendly culture, both of those hosts, they would have helped me out, especially since they're my hosts. Now, I don't want to be too negative. I've had some good experiences, like that one restaurant where I was in the parking lot, the best meal in this country by far. That grandma, that auntie, she was just, man, she took care of me. She took care of me. I was like, finally, this is great. But that was the one and only outlier exception. Everyone else, they would look at me all curious, but they were just very guarded. But I think what was going on, I don't think they were acting that way because they didn't like me. I think they were acting that way because they were scared to get in trouble. I think that's what it was. Now that I think about it, maybe Tajik culture is one where it's a very strict, inclusive culture, and if you're seen talking with an outsider, you might get in trouble later. Maybe that's it, because there's a lot of good things about this culture. I do like the people. I see how high functioning they are. There is a bit of warmth to them. Like, they're definitely friendlier than Kazakhs. I'm sorry, Kazakhs. Like, I just had a very bad time in Almaty. Like, oh my God. Now let's talk about some positives. One thing that actually impresses me about this culture, it really impresses me just how high quality the cooking is. The food, you go to any restaurant, first of all, everything was cooked properly. It's like, this is a country, I will not get food poisoning. that the food is prepared and handled correctly. On top of that, they did not have bad food here. Like everything was delicious, everything used quality ingredients. My favorite phrase for cooking, good, clean, honest cooking using real ingredients. And this is a culture, from what I've experienced, the cuisine is clean, honest, simple, and it's delicious. And you may be thinking, why is that surprising? Well, there's other wealthier countries like the Philippines where despite them being several times wealthier, despite them speaking English and having American support, you will get food poisoning. It just happens. And even though I'm very careful in the Philippines, I get food poisoning like twice a month. It just somehow sneaks in. It's to the point where I just now just cook because even though I can afford restaurants, I can afford eating out every meal, it's just not worth the risk. And when I say food poison, I'm not talking about an upset stomach. I'm talking about there's some pathogen in that food that they didn't properly cook so that you get infected and it takes 1 to 2 weeks to heal. 1 to 2 weeks, you're just on the toilet, right? And that's the Philippines. It's just the risk is too high. In Tajikistan, a country that is just so much poorer than the Philippines, something about this culture, the people, they're very, I don't know, like they pay attention to details, they're like more intelligent. And yeah, you won't get food poisoning here. Like everything is just done properly. One thing I really enjoyed about my stay here, it was clean and comfortable. Accommodations, restaurants, etc. It was clean and comfortable. Like there was like no weird smells, like no ick factor anywhere. Versus even in some places in China, you go to the toilets, like Beijing. Beijing is maybe 1,000 times richer than Tajikistan. But go to most Beijing toilets, yeah. Overall, I do like this culture. I do like the people. I just wish I had a local friend that could have showed me around. I wish I could have connected with someone, a genuine friend, because that was really the only thing lacking. And that would have just smoothed out a lot of things, like catching a taxi so I could have explored places, or I don't know, this was one of the most difficult trips I've had, and I would say it's only second to Timor-Leste. This city, this country is second to Timor-Leste. That's how rough it was. I can't recommend this country for tourism because the tourism infrastructure is not developed yet, and I don't know, I wouldn't come back to this country unless I had a friend to show me around or I magically spoke the language, because interfacing with the culture, oh yeah, another thing, Google Translate doesn't work. Even though things are in Russian, the Russian is an inter-ethnic language. So what they're doing is they're encoding Tajik into Russian. So it's actually 2 layers of translation that Google Translate has, and Google Translate can't do that. So when you try to translate things, it will translate the Russian into Russian, not into Tajik. And there's also cases of mixed script where it'll be partially in Russian and in a different other language. And then even if it translates correctly, a lot of the menu items, it's actually in Tajik slang, local slang. And this linguistic group has not been reflected within the translation app. So there's a lot of cases where it was just, there was like no way to communicate with local, even though I'm trying like at a restaurant. There's like absolutely no way. Like we're using translation app and it's just doesn't make sense. So that's another challenge here. And overall, I'm glad I came here. I got to know that there's a beautiful group of people called Tajiks. Now, when I go to Uzbekistan tomorrow, when I see a Tajik, I could be like, hey, I was in Tajikistan. Well, if they speak English, that is. Oh man, I really hope Uzbekistan goes better, because this was a difficult trip. Yeah. And we got hit by an earthquake 2 nights ago and 6 waves of hailstorms today. It's even worse. Oh, my flight's out tomorrow. I don't know if I can make it. Jesus. This actually stings. Oh man, I might be hailed in today. Just the heaviest hail. I was like, oh my god, I can't go outside. So this was a very interesting trip.